Hello, my name is Rick Riddle. Welcome to Economics for Managers, GM543. This is the spring 2022 term. My name again is Rick Riddle. I'm the instructor for the class. Required for this class is Managerial Economics by Frobe, the 5th edition. Now you can make do with an ebook if you want to for the class. The book is a small hardbound book. As textbooks go, it's less expensive than most textbooks. It's been around for a while, so you should be able to get a used copy fairly inexpensively. Sometimes students can buy the international edition as well, much less expensive than the domestic edition. Only thing is, it takes a little bit longer to get the international edition. Also required for the class, though, is new ideas from dead economists. Right? You do need to get a physical copy of the book. If you buy the ebook, you will not be able to cite page numbers as required for discussion questions that are based on the new ideas from dead economists. So please, the book is inexpensive, less than $20 for a brand new edition, even from the school bookstore's website. All right. This course is not about number crunching. It's about applying economic concepts to the business world, right? So we will be doing things like that. We'll be talking about things like economic indicators, for example. What do they all mean? What do they do to the economy as a whole? How do things affect, how do things that happen in the economy affect, and things in the world affect economics as well? So, for example, if war breaks out, how does that affect the stock market, for example, all right? Or if we talk about things like the possibility of war, like in the Ukraine or something like that, right? All right, so evaluation for the class. Threaded discussion makes up 30% of the grade. The stock game, which is due the stock game project, which is due at week number 11, makes up 30% of the grade. Theory assignments make up 35% of the grade, and the module paper makes up the remaining 5% of the grade. The course grading system is basically the standard Franklin Pierce MBA grading scheme, right? Threaded discussion. Each week is going to have, except for the last week, is going to have one threaded discussion question. Sometimes it's going to be two parts, like week number 1 includes introducing yourself and then also talking about an economic concept related to the first week's chapters, right? Students are expected to answer each question. If there are multiple parts or multiple questions, you need to answer each of those and post 3 to 4 discussion posts each week. Per question, but there's only really one question, so actually I need to change that and say 3 discussion questions overall per week, three posts per week. So let me just save that. Now you need to respond not later than Wednesday night with your initial post. That is the due date that shows on the Canvas box. Basically, the Canvas website is going to be the due date for the initial post, which is Wednesday night for all weeks, starting with week number 2 through week number 10 for threaded discussion, because there's 10 weeks of threaded discussion questions. For week number 1, all posts for discussion are due not later than Sunday night, as well as homework week number 1 on Sunday night for week number 1. All right. Again, please watch the due dates. Starting with week number 2, again, you need to post initial posts by Wednesday night and then respond again to other students, and the discussion will close on Saturday nights. Because there's only one discussion question, I'm asking students to try to post on a minimum of 3 different days each discussion topic as well. So each week you need to respond to discussion 3 different times, except for week number 1. 3 different days, I should say. Now you have access right now to all the different discussion questions, so you could post your initial post now and then post twice during the week itself for each of the other weeks after week number 1, if that helps you out any. Right? You're expected to research as appropriate your initial post and maybe some follow-ups for all of the discussion questions, except for new ideas from dead economists. The new ideas from dead economist discussions, which will start week number 3, for example, and week up like every other week from that time on. You are to use only the reading from new ideas from dead economists to back up your post and respond from. All right. Now, if you want to do some research outside the new ideas from dead economists, for example, for Adam Smith or Parsons Malthus or something, and you want to include that in a discussion post, you can do that, but please don't do it in your initial post. Do that as one of your follow-ups in those discussion categories, right? I ask, again, students to post 3 to 4 times, or you can post a few, 5 or 6 times, if you really want to as well. All posts that you make should be content added. Now, I need to go back and say to you, please write well, write to a college level, an MBA level. Complete sentences, well-written paragraphs, short paragraphs in discussion to make them easy to read, underline key items, know when to use plurals versus possessive, those types of things. That's expected of somebody writing, somebody that's going to be graduating with a master's degree in business administration, right? I do not allow you to edit your post. So once you hit post, you will not be able to make change to it. That's because I don't want students to go and make changes the day before or the day after I make grades or something, and then my grades have been wrong because students made changes later on. You need to look at, proofread, use spell check before you actually hit post. And notice when you post in Canvas, when you type your post in Canvas, before you hit post, you'll see a little squiggly red line indicating you possibly have a spelling error. Now that Canvas is not going to catch all the errors for you, so please understand that you need to proofread those as well. All right. Generally, the best grade that you're going to get on discussion questions is a 96. There might be one person every week, for example, that might get 100, but no post is basically going to be 100% perfect. You might have one that's so above and beyond that person gets 100%. But a 96 is not going to hurt anybody's grade. Now, if you wait until Wednesday night and Saturday night to do your posting respectively in any specific week, that's going to result in not better than an average grade, not better than a B grade, assuming that everything else is perfect in your posts, all right? Because you basically waited until the end. It's not posting with a maximum amount of effort. Again, I want to emphasize, content added for discussion posts. Please don't just paraphrase what somebody else posted, or don't say, I love your post, I agree with what you post, nice post, great. Those words don't add any value to discussion, so please focus on value added. Be efficient and effective in what you're posting in discussion. There's a whole separate video on the thought game, so please watch that. That's contained in module number 1 as well. All right, so there's another item we need to talk about, the theory assignment. So each week, week numbers 1 through week number 9, there is a theory assignment. All right, week number 10, there's no theory assignment. Your assignment is basically only to work on your project. That doesn't mean there's not discussion question week number 10. There is discussion question week number 10. The portfolio project is your homework basically for week number 11. And week number 12, your homework is basically to submit the module paper. Theory assignments, like everything else, please, well written up to an MBA level of writing, right? Please be sure to cite sources all the time as well. Module paper is basically similar to module papers you've done in all your other classes, or should have done for all of your other classes, composed of 3 different sections. If you don't have to separate them into 3 sections. It does sometimes make it easier for me to grade them, though, to make sure you've addressed everything, and it helps to make sure that students don't miss anything if they put the individual items there themselves. All right. So the first section of your module paper, what did you learn from the class? Not what is covered in the class, but what did you learn? And, sometimes it's helpful for people to summarize actually what they learned in the class and realize that so much more that they actually learned than they thought, right? Second part of it, how is what we did in the class relevant to your workplace or other activities? Now, in terms of other activities, it might be that you have a volunteer work, it might be that you have a second job, it might be just it helps you better understand the news headlines, for example, right? How can you apply the learning from the class to your life? Does it help you, for example, to better understand your goals for things like retirement, something like that, right? You see any areas that you might be able to apply the course learning from to your immediate future? Third part, how does the new learning apply to your strategy that's identified in your foundation paper? Right? Keep in mind, I don't have your foundation paper. I don't want you to turn it into me. But what I want you to do is say, this is what I said were my goals in the foundation paper, and this is how the class fits into that. Now, do you need to make any adjustments to your original portfolio plan as a result of anything that happened over the course of this term? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean just the class. It might be, for example, that you got a job promotion, so you need to shuffle things around and change your goals and objectives, all right? If you don't need to make any changes, please specifically say that in your module paper. If you haven't taken the leadership class, please be sure to say that in your module paper. I have to assume that you've taken the class and you can apply the class, this class to your module leadership paper. To your leadership paper itself. All right. So over here, what you have is you have the syllabus that shows what you We're going to be covering detailed coverage for each individual week. Now, some weeks you're going to see philosopher discussion, philosopher reading every single week. That doesn't mean there's going to be a deliverable for philosopher discussion every week, or philosophers every single week. Some weeks you're going to be talking about 2 philosophers in the discussion questions. And then there's also 1 week, week number 8, where you have to read, or you're asked to read 2 different passages, the Maynard Keynes chapter and the Milton Friedman chapter from the New Ideas from Dead Economists. Right? Watch the due dates on the syllabus on Canvas inbox. Again, the due dates for in terms of discussion questions are the initial post, not when discussion closes. For the homework, it's when the homework closes, when the homework is actually due. And for the stock project, it's when it's actually due. In terms of homework, I appreciate early submissions. In terms of stock project and homeworks, I will not review a submission before you actually make it. If you make an early submission, early meaning a day or more early, and you do the wrong homework assignment or you interpreted things totally wrong, I will probably give you a chance to resubmit it. If you wait until Sunday night to submit it, and it's bad, it's bad. I mean, I'm not going to do anything for it. Again, I won't review things emailed to me because it's not fair to the students who don't email it to me. It also only opens the door for people to do multiple different resubmissions for me to review, and then for me to be unable to deduct points because I missed something when I initially reviewed it. My policy basically is, in terms of late assignments, no credit for late assignment. If you have an extenuating circumstance, then that's a whole different story. Please email that extenuating circumstance to me. Please do not email me any homework or any projects. I can't put them in the Dropbox for you. You need to do that, and there needs to be a record of when you actually drop things into the Dropbox, right? The course items are subject to change here, right? And I apologize. I did make some changes to the syllabus this term, so I may find, and if you find that I made an error someplace, please let me know so I can make changes and fix things, right? Again, I apologize for that. All right, so let me look here for a minute. We can kind of look at what's actually on the Canvas website for you. So every week you have a different module, and the modules have different resources available to you. For example, the first week you have the syllabus video. You also have a video about the stock game, which is contained just underneath the stock game section over here. Those are Screen-O-Matic. I apologize, I don't do the best videos. I've done these several times, and I still make a lot of mistakes each time when I do them. Right? So sorry for that. I have a chapter summary for each of the individual chapters, along with solved problems in the appropriate spots in the notes, kind of help you to relate the course material. I have the PowerPoints from the book as well. There's some video resources that mostly come from the book, but some outside as well. And then there is the discussion question and the homework assignment. So week number 1, for example, your homework assignment is to talk about interest rates. So I'll try to give you as much information as I possibly can on that. Where you can, add charts and graphs or something to your homework. Not things that you copy from something else, but things that you do yourself, all right? Please answer all sections of the homework, all right? When you do threaded discussion, if you feel you need to copy and paste the discussion question itself because you're answering a different part of it at different spots, then you can do so, but I'd rather people don't actually copy and paste the questions themselves, all right? Let me go back here to the modules themselves. So again, that was module number 1. Module number 2 is going to cover chapters 4 and 5. So we have a little bit of a module overview. Investment. I should say there is a separate video here for an investments. Hopefully it's somewhat helpful to you. It talks about different kinds of investments. You don't really need it to understand the stock project or anything, but maybe can help you a little bit to better understand things. So a lot of students really don't have good understanding of those types of things. Again, there are some notes here. There's also an example video over here for chapter 4 and 5 example. Again, that's on Screen-O-Matic. So basically, modules are pretty much done the same way. Please watch things like due dates and such. Those will show up on your calendars. I can't accept things that are late because students did not understand what the due dates were. It shows up on the syllabus. It shows up on Canvas for you. So please watch those dates. Thank you so much. I really look forward to working with everybody over the course of the term. Thanks.